Women in energy can be innovators, diverse thinkers, problem solvers, and can meaningfully contribute to sustainability goals. They not only improve a business's performance, but they also shape a company's growth and positively impact societies at large. Yet their participation in the energy sector is fraught with many hurdles. Some of these manifest and amplify themselves in the form of performance bias, gender bias, pay gaps, ineffective management workplace policies, and lack of adequate flexible workplace arrangements. Hi, I'm Surbhi Sahu. I'm an editorial lead at S&P Global Commodity Insights. And joining me today on Commodity Insights Live is Sophie Ducoloner, who is the Managing Director at Axpo Singapore. Sophie today will share her insights on how exactly we can improve and increase the representation of women in the energy sector. She will also share her views on the LNG market outlook. Welcome to Live, Sophie.
Thank you, and thanks for this great introduction.
So tell me, Sophie, what, according to you, are the roadblocks that are faced by women in the energy sector, and how can they be tackled?
I mean, your introduction, summarized things very well, because on one side, there's a lot of studies that show that companies that outperform have a diversified workforce. And at the same time, I think the energy sector, from what I read, especially from the International Energy Agency, say that women account only for 16% of the workforce and are actually paid less. I think the gap is around 20%. So we see that compared with other sector, we are one of the worst, and we will have to tackle, the major energy transition where you need like innovative solution, new business models. And the fact that I'm just here shows that there is a problem, because I should not be here today, right? So the reason I think is clearly the underrepresentation, and you have, all kind of reason for that. I guess at the beginning, the energy sector was full of technical work, and you had to work overseas, maybe in factories, who knows, and that was not really appealing for women in a very traditional society. But things have changed in many sectors, but not in ours. And you see, underrepresentation a lot in technical job, leadership job. And in reality, then it means that the women who remain there tend to be isolated, because you are like alone or almost alone, and you may not be very well integrated. Even if the people are very friendly with you, you have less network, and network is extremely important from the start of your career to have, to build your relationship, your network, to find mentors that make you grow. And it is true that males are doing that, since centuries, and, and we were, I guess, more in the household, but things have changed. But I think the network is still missing in our industry. You also have, the pressure on work-life balance. But having said that, especially I think in new generation, when I look at my team, the work-life balance is also necessary for men, because, the men also want to have that and want to be potentially, with young family when you are in your career. And it's not only the women that need to have this kind of work-life balance. So I think there's a lot of stereotype on that. It's not only women that require that.
So when it comes to your career, Sophie, have you encountered any biases, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think I had many times, but initially and still now, I've been always passionate for my job and very focused. And I think anyone, any gender, if you succeed, then you can be, a leader in an energy company, or just have your own company, or just be, someone in a very simple job. The most important is to be passionate about what you do, because then you're happy to go to work every day. You are driven by success. And success has, all kind of meaning and definition. So I've been always very focused, certainly visible, because I tend to be a bit extrovert, which tend to help if you are in a minority, and not afraid to raise my voice, my interest. I was lucky to have good mentors, actually a lot of men, in many of my various company. And in a way, I started my career by being, I don't know, maybe it was in denial or maybe naive or maybe complacent, I don't know, but I guess I was educated in a family where gender was not an issue. So to be a woman was clearly not a problem. And then I realized, working that in reality, even if I believed I was similar to any other person, I was slightly different. And I always then, I advocate for this not to happen.
Sophie, how do you think can we inspire more women to take on leadership roles in the sector?
Networking, as we said, mentorship is also very important, because some people don't think or don't realize they are capable, and to support progress and success is extremely important. I do that a lot in our company to support actually men as well, but to support younger talent to grow, because you don't become a leader in one day. It's a long-term plan. So to education is also important, to continue to develop your skills, because we especially with new technology now, skills are changing all the time, and you need to keep the pace at any age.
Now, moving on to LNG, Sophie, how do you think have the LNG markets evolved over time? First, after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and then more recently, the ongoing Middle East conflict.
Yeah, that's like the big topic for the last, I guess, 3 to 4 years. We had the pandemic, and then we had this unfortunate event that created this huge energy crisis. And it means that, suddenly you had not only Asia being dependent on LNG, but also a major gas center, in terms of demand, being Europe. And that really created an increase in interconnection of the gas market, and an overall tightness. And we see now, even if the market is, well supplied as of today, at least, any move, any single outrage on sentiment of risk, even if a fundamental, say, the contrary, increase drastically the upside risk and the volatility. And we see that today, with the tension in the Middle East and what could happen if some of the major supply center should be blocked, how it will affect the entire world. So this has changed a lot, I think, for the last few years. There's been a trend to have more and more flexible contract, and since the creation of and the surge of the US supply, and the way the contract pattern was very, very different. And with this crisis, and the fact that also the power system are evolving, and you need a lot more flexibility with the increase of renewable and the lack of storage solutions. You see that all this means that it's extremely important for company to have flexibility in their LNG portfolio. That's critical, because you need to be able, ideally, to decide about the time, and then the quantity, and and the direction of your trades, and do the arbitrage almost on a daily basis. So this has constantly, extremely changed the way people behave in the LNG sector.
Coming to Axpo, Sophie, how do you plan to grow Axpo's operations in Asia?
So we started Axpo Singapore end of 2020. The target has always been to tap in this new, not new, but huge, energy markets that represent Asia. Obviously we have more than 50 countries. It's not homogeneous at all. And to be able to participate in the growth expansion and the transition expansion in relatively liquid market that represents, huge opportunity for, fuel supply, risk management, prop trading activity, etc. So we started with LNG, which has been, a product that we've been involved in Axpo for decades in the Atlantic Basin. And then we expanded to power. So now we trade future on Australia, New Zealand, Japan. And then, power is clearly the DNA of Axpo. And we also have now LPG. So we have this diversified energy platform. And we've been in a starter mode for like around 3 years because it takes quite a lot of time to build the business from scratch. And now we are in this scale-up phase where we see growth in all our markets to develop a regional portfolio that we can optimize globally on LNG. We see more and more liquidity on power and gas actually on the future side for Asia, and we are progressing in the prop activity in the risk management solution, and LPG is a success story in the region with also the great the surge in petchem production and LPG demand. So we continue to expand the team, and again now I think we are set up to build a solid business. So hopefully I can talk about that in a couple of years and talk about our next step then.
Look forward to that, Sophie.